This is Respectfully Outrageous with Nathan and Ben.
Today we're going to be talking about our Week 1 and 2 reactions and our Week 3 predictions.
Hope you enjoy. So when we're recording this, Saturday, tomorrow is the start of Week 3 in the NFL. And up to this point, what surprises you? What are you looking at in the first couple weeks here?
The first thing that surprises me is actually nothing really to do with the NFL. It's kind of surprising. It's the fan reactions to everything that's happened. I don't know if it's the sports talk shows or the fans reacting, but everyone's overreacting about everything.
Or not even reacting at all.
Even reacting at all. Or, for example, the Cowboys looked awful in Denver. They looked really good Week 1, and then they're all like, the season's over. Or your team could be undefeated, and they're like, they look amazing. But usually that happens every year where every person's going, well, my team's great because they're undefeated, or my team's terrible because they've lost 2 games. So I think people need to, as Aaron Rodgers would say, relax, reload, calm down.
It's only Week 3 at this point.
There's a lot of football to be played, unless you're the Bengals. Okay, it's official. You can throw in the towel on Andy Dalton. You can throw it in on Marvin Lewis. I've given up at this point. I have given up.
I feel bad for AJ Green.
Oh, he's just too nice.
I know.
I mean, what else does he have to do? You should leave. You should demand release, and then sign in New England. Actually, cancel that. They have too many good players. Don't sign in New England. Go to New Orleans. Actually, no, don't. Don't. That's a bad idea.
Anyway, leave the Bengals.
Leave the Bengals. Go somewhere else. But I don't know if it's. I think the end of the Cincinnati Bengals, we saw the cinematic end. We saw was Deshaun Watson tucking it and running. I'm like, their season is just over. What else? Just talking about it. Everyone was talking about the Giants being a powerhouse.
And they have not looked like a powerhouse.
Awful in every sense of the word. Eli Manning has looked like Elliott Manning. It's horrendous to watch. Not only they have no running game, the whole Beckham saga, I deserve more money, I'm the best wide receiver in the league, you need to pay me, I'm better than the team, I'm bigger than the team, I can miss a week because I'm hurt, they look terrible without him, he comes back, he looks terrible. So honestly, I don't even know what the situation is. Do you play him? You wait for him to get healthy? Because you've shown you can't score without him. What happened to Sterling Shepard?
I don't know. I haven't heard much about him. And talk about Brandon Marshall.
Where is he?
Having a face plant. I mean, come on.
I mean, you leave the Jets. You go to Eli Manning. Your number one receiver goes out, and your aging receiver. This is your chance. You're in New York. If you ball, you could cement your legacy. But I can't find him. Honestly, half the time I have to is even on the field. Where is 15 in the
part of the issue is with that offensive line. They can't even protect Eli.
It's not even, people say it's the tackles. I think it's the guards. The only problem...
the pass protection from the running backs
is non-existent. I mean, you have, Shane Vereen. You have...
Paul Perkins.
Rashad Jennings, is he still there? I don't know.
No, he's out.
And then they have, Owens Darkwa, I believe. Wayne Gallman, the kid they drafted from Clemson. I haven't seen him once. I haven't even seen the preseason. Honestly, their tight end, Evan Ingram, looks great. But at this point, you might as well have him playing running back. It's literally disastrous. And the thing is, it kind of reminds me of the Broncos in a sense. They didn't have a great running game last year. Simeon is playing way better than Eli Manning is playing at this point. The point is, the Giants just don't have a Von Miller one-play game ender. I mean, they have great players, but their Giants' defensive line is getting bullied this year. Absolutely bullied. The NFC East is just looking weak. I mean, the Cowboys are going to be fine. I think they're going to make the playoffs and stuff like that. The Eagles look really good. Washington's just been disgusting as usual. What else just jumps out at me?
Something that jumps out for me. Sorry to interrupt, but I figured I'd add my thoughts. Is finally people realize that the Cardinals are not a playoff team. We've been saying from the start, Cardinals, they're not a playoff team. They don't even stand a chance. But at this point, they stand a chance because Seattle's not looking too hot either. But going back to the Cardinals, they're absolutely screwed without David Johnson. There's no chance. You've got your number one receiver is what, 39, 38?
Okay.
He's up there in age, 36. I don't know. Carson Palmer's what, 75?
37, going at 80. Okay, with zero mobility. David Johnson's gone, like Nathan said. Their tight end game is absolutely
Jermaine Gresham, is he their tight end?
I don't even know. I don't know. I heard rumors that maybe Jesse James is there. I don't know. Maybe he's in Pittsburgh.
I will say,
honestly,
J.J. Nelson looked good.
He did look good.
He's a speedy receiver. That's their only hope.
Mm-hmm. But then they let Michael Floyd go. He went to the Vikings. They went to the Patriots. Then he went to the Vikings. Who else is going to line up besides Larry Fitzgerald, J.J. Nelson, and
John Brown right now, but he's injured.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they have T.J. Logan, the kid from North Carolina, but he's a running back. So I really don't see the big plays.
They're planning to use like 4 different running backs because they're panicking because David Johnson's out.
Gone. Yeah, I know. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a trade for somebody like a running back this year. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, if they want any hope at getting into the playoffs, they need to.
Yes, but I also kind of feel like they should. I don't believe the Cardinals are going to the Super Bowl with Palmer or Fitz on their teams, which is sad because.
Well, no, if they had a different quarterback, Fitz could still go to the Super Bowl. Well, I think he's just not. I don't know if at this point if he's good enough to be a number 1 receiver.
I think Fitz, truly, no disrespect to Fitz, but he's a possession receiver. He's really never was supposed to be a number 1.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of like the guy that you'd put on the opposite of a Kelvin Johnson or an A.J. Green, someone that kind of is always reliable, like the Randy Moss, Chris Carter situation. Randy Moss takes on the double teams. Chris Carter's one-on-one. You go to him on third down, he's always going to catch it. John Taylor, Jerry Rice, that kind of great tandem. But with Fitz, his other, like, Jerry Rice in situation left, which was Austin Bolden. And then he's just always stayed there. He went through all these different quarterbacks with the Kurt Warners, it was the Skeletons, and now it's Carson Palmer. So, if Palmer retires, I think Fitz has got, 3 years in him? The way
Maybe. He said, originally, I think he was going to retire last year.
Yeah.
And then he stretched it out to this year.
So, I'm saying...
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes maybe 1 more.
Yeah.
But only if Carson Palmer stays, which I don't know how likely that is.
It's a destructive combo. They won't get off. They have to realize if they want to win the playoffs with Fitz, they have to move on from Palmer. And I thought they were going to take Mahomes, and they didn't. And he's in Kansas City, so.
Another thing that I noticed in the past 2 weeks is Oakland picked off right where they left off when Derek Carr went down.
Oh, yeah.
They
didn't miss
They are clicking on all cylinders.
They didn't miss a beat. The only thing I will say is Khalil Mack's stats are a little bit farther behind where I thought they were going to be.
Honestly, but that also happened last year, too. I feel like he has that buffer zone where it takes him a couple weeks to just get in there.
Is that with all great pass rushers? Because, Joey Bosa's been kind of slow this year.
Yep.
Von Miller's been pretty slow.
J.J.
Watt's been really slow. J.J. Watt's looked kind of bad, honestly.
Well, I mean, he's had a bone coming out of his
hand. He had that back injury. And then he had all that attention on him from the relief effort, which is great. And I'm glad that he did that. It's really great that the NFL
supported that. Yes,
supported that and promoted that. And his reaction, the crowd's reaction to when he took the field was amazing. But now he had all that attention on him. That's not right, but that's just kind of the way it is if you're a big name player. There's not been a kicking issue this year, which is nice.
Well, except because, Robert Aguayo was gone. So,
just in general, there's no...
Well, I mean, there is a kicking issue with the Chargers.
Right.
And I will say that the Chargers...
are the exact same team as they were last year.
They were, and people were expecting them to be good, and I was wondering, what are you basing this off of?
What changed?
It's the exact same team.
What changed? Isn't the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results? That's literally like picking the Chargers. The roster hasn't changed. New head coach. Basically the same scheme. Nothing changed. It's like picking Chargers. They are pretty good. But they're not going anywhere.
Maybe even one of the biggest surprises of week 1 and 2 is Kareem Hunt taking over for Spencer Ware and Chartandrick West.
I mean, he is an Andy Reid running back.
That's true.
I mean,
we look at, Jamal Charles. He thrived in Kansas City.
It's a scheme.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's not a good player, but New England had a very what should I say? Undermanned defense.
Yes.
And they got exposed. And Tyreek Hill
and we knew that coming into the year. We knew
that coming into the year.
They didn't beef up enough on defense.
And then they had the issue with Dante Hightower might even play end, which is like, oh, this is gonna be ugly. But we're like, well, it's Bill Belichick. He'll figure out a way to do it. You know, he's won a game, 2 Super Bowls, throwing to Mike Vrabel as a tight end. Okay, he'll be fine. Nope, you're playing against Andy Reid. What else? Pittsburgh looks lethargic.
They always do. They always come out of the gate really lethargic.
Slow. They just look like.
And you also got to think about, Le'Veon Bell was on holdout for and
it showed. He looked
yes.
He looked like someone that hasn't been playing. Kind of looks like Cam. Cam has understands the game. Like his brain's fine, but you can tell when someone hasn't been in training camp in preseason, they just look really, really rusty. And Le'Veon Bell looked rusty. Cam's throwing, his accuracy has been pretty awful, but he's only
the Panthers have been underwhelming to this point.
Their
defense has been solid.
Their defense has been solid.
Their offense
is kind of.
I think Cam Newton might actually be out the door this year.
I think he's kind of like a shell of himself.
Well, because here's the deal.
He's not healthy though. He's coming back from a surgery.
But the Panthers finally gave him the weapons he needed.
Right.
Now Greg Olson's out for 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be 7 weeks.
People thought that Christian McCaffrey was gonna get the full workload.
He's not.
But no, I don't know where people got this information.
No, the idea
because Jonathan Stewart is still there.
The whole idea was McCaffrey was kind of the whole Atlanta Falcons thing. Tevin Coleman, put him on the backfield, working against the linebacker, spread him out wide. Take the work, have Cam dump it off, and have him do the work so Cam doesn't take as many hits. And then still have Cam run the read option and do all those different things. However, Cam's with the Cam shoulder injury and him coming back and not playing well into last year, it really showed against the 49ers. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll get their offense rolling against the Saints because the Saints have looked absolutely horrendous defensively.
They always look horrendous on defense.
And people are like, new defense coordinator. I'm like, that's really going to change.
They go through a new defensive coordinator every year.
The only person that managed to stay there was Rob Ryan, and I don't know how he managed to do that. That's one of the great mysteries of the 20th century. But, honestly, the one thing that jumps out at me has to be all the noise about the Dolphins. Like, they're not doing anything ridiculous. They're not great. They're not bad.
We can't necessarily judge a whole lot on the Dolphins because they played one game.
Mm.
They had that weird situation week 1. They didn't play. And same thing with the Bucs.
Yep.
Because, they played well, I guess, first game. Dolphins played what seems like a mediocre game. They always play mediocre, I guess, as the Dolphins.
It's the Dolphins. It's the Chargers. They're going to lose close games. They lost 11 close games between the last 2 years.
The Browns kind of look like the Browns still.
The Browns are browning it.
Deshaun Kaiser, I think, is probably the best quarterback for them in the past while.
The thing is, Deshaun Kaiser looked really good against Pittsburgh, and then he looked awful the next week.
Well, because he got a migraine and he was out for half the game.
He got a migraine, but he threw 3 picks against the Ravens. It was
to be fair, the Ravens' defense is doing really well.
That doesn't excuse 3 picks. Those were some ugly interceptions.
Yeah, that's fair.
That Ravens defense got after him. I don't know if it was the offensive line, but they were coming after him, and they were coming free. And what the heck is going on with Kenny Britt? Here we go. I'm start ranting. What the heck happened to Kenny Britt? Did he not train in the offseason? Because he looked absolutely horrendous this season. Because last season, he was looking really good. He was making great catches against Seattle the year before. He's beating Richard Sherman. We're like, okay, Kenny Britt he's making Case Keenum look good. Then he's going to the Browns. Okay, he's going to kind of replace Terrell Pryor. And then he comes in and we're like, what the heck is this? His route running's not great. His speed's never been there. And he's dropping open passes. I'm like, why did you pay him? Why? Can you return him? Is there return?
Return policy?
Do you have a return policy on damaged goods? Because, honestly, Kenny Britt literally has nothing left. It's awful. It's hard to watch, really. It's pathetic. Honestly, I don't know if he could surf the Jets right now. Honestly, I don't know.
And the Jets are a mess.
I mean, who's the starting receiver for the Jets? Devin Smith, Chad Hansen. What else do they have there? Darius Stewart. I don't even know if he's playing. Who are the receivers for the Jets? Okay, Jermaine Kearse. It's
Who they traded Sheldon Richardson for.
Honestly, Seattle might be one of the worst managed teams in the NFL.
That wasn't. I don't think that was a bad trade for Seattle, though.
No, that's the problem with Seattle. It's not who they go and get. It's the philosophy. The fact that you can invest 70% of your financial costs completely into the defense. Get the greatest defense like ever, basically, almost. You have Sherman, you have Deshaun Shedd, you have Earl Thomas, you have Cam Chancellor.
But on offense, they were really counting on Eddie Lacy, and
he didn't work.
He's a dud. He fell on his face.
He's a dud. It actually has nothing to do. I don't think it has much to do with Lacy. It has to do with the fact that they don't invest anything at the offensive line.
Right.
I mean, you have
because they
have basketball players converted playing guards and tackles. You have Luke Jokel from first round pick that ever worked playing guard. He's getting manhandled. And they just offensively look horrible. Russell Wilson hasn't been great. He's been running for his life all season. He's been like El Chapo Jr. running around. It's absolutely horrific. I mean, even that, like, the receivers are okay, I guess. I mean, Doug Baldwin's been,
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham is
injured-ish.
So it doesn't really. Doesn't matter how good your defense is if your offense can't score points, because then you just stay out on the field long enough and they get shredded, like we saw against Green Bay, because it was a 0-3 game, and then Aaron Rodgers managed to stay on the field because their defense was tired, and managed to get Jordy Nelson open. So that's an issue, and the fact is they almost lost to the Niners at home.
Yeah.
Going into Seattle used to be like the toughest place to play besides the Denver. And the fact that the Niners led by, I don't even want to say it, Brian Hoyer almost beat them. Brian Hoyer. That's embarrassing. That is absolutely an embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I just think the Seahawks and the Giants are basically mirror images of each other, minus the fact that, Russell Wilson can run and Eli can't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Saying that they have good tight end.
They invested in their defense, good tight end.
Left their offense out to dry.
Yeah.
No running game. I mean, what else is there to talk about? Okay.
And that's kind of basically what I got from week 1 and week 2.
Pretty much, not much has changed. Seattle's bad. Giants aren't looking good. Chargers are losing close games.
Browns are still the Browns.
Browns are still the Browns, but looking better. Viking fans are overreacting about everything. The Falcons' defense looks better than their offense looks right now. Some growing pains of a new offense. Matt Ryan's come back down to earth. And what has happened to Drew Brees?
He doesn't have a defense, but
no, I'm not talking about the defense in New Orleans. I'm talking about the offense in New Orleans.
Well, he did lose Brandon Cooks.
Yeah,
and Willie Snead is suspended for 3 games.
It's definitely a showing because the Drew Brees that we're talking about, 5,000
but if you think about it, their number 1 receiver is Willie Snead.
Well, I mean, Mr. 5,000 yards doesn't look like if you look at his passes from this year to last year, they're not as many spirals, and they're looking like he's definitely showing his age.
To be fair, they're also having issues with Adrian Peterson on the bench saying he wants the ball 30 times a game.
Honestly, who wants to be a backup running back? Who goes into who goes into a situation saying, well, they signed him, and then this is after the draft. They get Alvin Kamara, who's supposed to be a receiver, kind of like a Telvin Coleman situation.
Yep.
And then you have Mark Ingram coming off the best year of his career, and then you also have Adrian Peterson coming off one of the worst years. Had an absolutely horrendous year. It's just an absolute mess in New Orleans. And Sean Payton has to manage that by also trying to manage the defense. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Payton's on his way out soon. But he's under contract, so he's not going anywhere.
Well, we'll see in the weeks to come, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, this segment, we're going to do our Week 3 game picks.
Yep.
We're going to start with Ben here.
Mm-hmm.
First game, Baltimore versus Jacksonville in London.
I'm going to take the Jags.
Give me a reason why.
Jacksonville has a great running game so far this season, and I think their defense with Calais Campbell has shown that they're really able to play well this season. With the loss of Marshall Yanda, I think Calais Campbell and those boys are going to be able to get after him. Joe Flacco, who said his back is not 100% healthy. Jags 16, Ravens 10.
All right, next game, the Broncos and the Bills in Buffalo.
I'm going to roll with Buffalo. I think Tyrod Taylor and that offense are going to actually get to work this week. I think LaShawn McCoy is down for a big game this year. Big game this week, I should say. I'm going to say Buffalo 23, Denver 17.
Okay. Next game, the New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers in Carolina.
With the way the Saints defense has been playing, I'm going to roll Carolina in a close one, 19-16 Carolina. I think Cam Newton is going to be able to kind of game manage his way in. He's looking like his arm's improving, his accuracy's coming down. I think he'll have to run it to be gritty wins and turnovers. It's going to be ugly. It's a nail-biter, 19-16 Carolina.
All right, next one, Pittsburgh and Chicago in Chicago.
Pittsburgh's going to run away with it. I think the Bears are going to try to keep it close, kind of like they did with Atlanta. Run the ball with Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard. At the end of the day, Glennon can only do you so much. At the end of the day, it's Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. The thing is, the Bears' secondary has improved. Marcus Cooper is an upgrade. But the thing is, you have Martavis Bryant and Antonio Brown. Pittsburgh's going to score points. They're going to score a lot of them. 42-17.
Oh, okay. And next game is going to be Atlanta Falcons versus the Detroit Lions in Detroit.
I'm going to roll Stafford. I'm going to roll to Stafford and the Lions 24-21. I think Stafford is just, the Lions are just a good home team. They're not going to run the ball, so it's going to turn into kind of a shootout late. Stafford is going to get on target with Galloway. Marvin Jones and Golden Tate are going to go after it. And the thing is, Julio Jones is going up against an underrated corner in Darius Slay, who's an absolute dog. So, 24-21, Lions.
All right, Cleveland and Indianapolis in Indianapolis.
Cleveland. They can't lose forever, okay? Deshaun Kaiser can't play worse than he played. He's going to put it behind him. I've seen him overcome adversity at Notre Dame. And he'll be fine. It's indoors. The Colts have looked absolutely atrocious. Jacoby Brissett's good, but he's not great. The Browns' running game was going to be pretty good because the Colts just can't stop their run. And the simple fact is, T.Y. Hilton can't do everything. So the Browns are going to take it.
All right. What do you think for a score there?
29-20.
High scoring. Tampa Bay and Minnesota. Keep in mind, Sam Bradford is not starting. It
doesn't matter. Just game manager and game manager. It doesn't matter. I like Tampa Bay. I like Jameis Winston. I like Deshaun Jackson. The thing is, you can't cover speed. So Tampa Bay 23, Minnesota 7. Wow. I just don't see this Vikings offense rolling. We saw what they had with Case Keenum in Pittsburgh. It wasn't pretty. It was hard to watch. I stopped watching because it was boring. I think whoever running the ball against the Vikings is not going to have so much success because let's face it, let's give the Vikings credit. They have a really good defensive line and good front seven. The thing is, there's only one Xavier Rhodes. There's only one. You can't duplicate him. You can't clone him. You can only put him one spot on the field. And the thing is, kind of like Atlanta and Pittsburgh. Tampa Bay has a lot of weapons. Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans, Cameron Brate. They're able to spread the field with O.J. Howard and kind of spread it out, and Jameis Winston is able to move down the field. So I think Tampa Bay is going to be able to score multiple times, dominate the time possession because the Vikings will just be able to hold the ball. And if you can't hold the ball, the defense is going to get tired and worn out, and they're going to have big plays.
Okay. Next game, Houston Texans versus New England Patriots in New England.
I got to roll with Tom Terrific. It's Tom Brady. The Patriots are going to win it.
I mean, they're in Foxborough.
26-9. The thing is, Deshaun Watson's good. He really is really good. The thing is, with his reliance on DeAndre Hopkins as his only weapon, is a good thing for a rookie. You want attach yourself to the hip of your number one wide receiver and not let go. Doesn't matter. Just not let go. Get a good connection and build with that throughout your career. That's a good thing. However, for defenses, that's really easy to stop. You take away Hopkins, what's he going to go to? Go to Braxton Miller? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to Braxton Miller. He's pretty good, but if you're going up against the Patriots, and you have Stephon Gilmore and Devin McCourty and Malcolm Butler, and they're ticked and they're at home, and they have a lot to prove, and there's nothing scarier than an angry Tom Brady. Patriots 26, Texans 9.
All right, Miami Dolphins versus New York Jets in New York.
It's the Jets. What else do I have to say? It's the Jets. They're not going to win. They stink. They are absolutely atrocious. It doesn't matter who they're playing, they should lose. Okay? The Dolphins basically just can't throw 5 picks. That's basically all they have to do, which is asking a lot since it's Jay Cutler. I think Miami is going to be able to move the field down against an absolutely horrendous Jets defense. And the Jets are going to create turnovers. I'm saying Miami 28, Jets 7. I don't know how they get 7, but they put up 7.
New York Giants and Philadelphia in Philly.
Oh, you got to go with the Eagles at the link. Let's face it, Carson Wentz has looked really, really good this year, and Eli Manning hasn't. Okay, the Eagles' running game is going to get rolling. I think Alshon Jeffrey is going to go off this week. He's a dog. He hasn't had the big, Alshon Jeffrey catch that we've seen in Chicago. Those big going over people catches. And let's face it, the Giants' corner is a little bit undersized. I think they're going to use his height and be able to do a lot of different things. And I think Nelson Aguilar has looked really good this season. So I'm going to go with the Eagles 35, Giants 3.
Wow.
They can't score points. The Eagles can.
All right, Seattle and Tennessee at Tennessee.
I'm going with the Titans. That exotic smash mouth offense, the Titans are going to run the ball down the Seahawks' throat. Okay, the Seahawks defense has been really good this season. It's always been good. But here's a simple fact. Seattle can't block anybody. They can't. And Tennessee had some underrated defensive players in Kevin Dodd, Morgan, and some other great players. I remember what they did to the Broncos last year, how they kept it a close game, and they just basically ran DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry down the Broncos' throat.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be one of those scrappy fighting games where you have a lot of blocking and all that stuff like that. And let's face it, when the team is playing poorly and you have stars on a team that have a lot of personality, there's going to be some border clashes. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Richard Sherman John at somebody, kind of like we saw in the divisional game where Sherman was John at people. So I just think it's a destructive culture in Seattle that's going to spread into this game. So I'm going to say the Titans are going to win this one.
Score?
17-13.
Okay. Cincy and Green Bay.
Start every Packers player you have on fantasy. Aaron Rodgers goes off 42-13. Here's why.
We don't need it.
Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. Randall Cobb is really good. Jordy Nelson is really good. And the Bengals don't have any really good defenders besides Carlos Dunlap, and I just don't see him covering anybody down the field. The Packers' offensive line is not that great, but Ty Montgomery is good. You can spread him out. You can do a lot of different things. The versatility of the Packers is going to irritate Marvin Lewis, and the Packers are just going to destroy everybody. It's going to be hot, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers get off to a quick start and then kind of slow down because the heat's kind of like drags them out.
All right, Kansas City and LA Chargers.
In LA, correct?
Yep.
I'm going with Kansas City. Experts are saying the Chargers. I've been picking against them all year. I'm going to roll with Kansas City because I like Alex Smith this year. I've always have. Always will. Game manager, but he knows how to get the win. They're going to run the football, manage the clock, and just not make mistakes. Now, Philly Rivers is the kind of quarterback that can throw you into games that you shouldn't really be in. But in that also kind of the fact that the Chiefs' defense has looked absolutely really good. Now, they're missing Eric Berry, which I think is going to hurt them. So I think the Chargers are going to put up like 20 points. So and the Chiefs are going to put up like 27-23. Kansas City.
All right, Sunday night, Oakland and Washington.
This one's going to be interesting. And the reason it's going to be interesting is because the Redskins are a really hard team to predict. They just always baffle me. And I never seem to be able to predict the Redskins games well. Now, I think the Raiders are going to absolutely play well because, it's Derek Carr, and he's shown tremendous poise throughout his career. And he's actually really, really good in prime time. So, Raiders in a close one, 20, Redskins 17.
It is close. And then the final game of the week, Monday night, Dallas and Arizona.
Honestly, this is a toss-up because both teams are playing for their seasons right now. And it might not seem like it record-wise for the Cowboys, but morality and mentally, it's playing the Cowboys' psyche. Because they're like, well, we were the team. We were the biggest team. We were the biggest kids on the block, and then we got smacked. So how do they put that behind them? The Cardinals are playing, well, we lost our best player. No one believes in us. But we think we're better than everyone else thinks we are, and then we get smacked. So whoever can put away the mental, because both teams have the talent to go deep into the playoffs. They have the talent. It's can they put their distractions aside next to the play. So I say Dallas is going to win this one. 24-6.
Nice. Okay.
How about you?
All right. So I'm going to start off here with the Baltimore-Jacksonville game. In London, I'm going to take Baltimore in a battle that's going to come down to the Ravens defense versus the Jacksonville offense, which I really don't think there's a contest, and I think the Ravens are going to take that. I'm saying Ravens 24, Jacksonville 13. In a battle where Leonard Fournette gets one touchdown, pounded into the end zone. And I just like Terrence West and Javorius Allen or Buck or whoever they have.
Buck Allen,
yeah, in their backfield. I like that. I'm not a huge fan of Joe Flacco, but I think that those running backs will get something done. For Denver and Buffalo, I'm going to take Denver in a close one. I'm going to say 13-10. It's going to be low scoring. Kind of battle of the defenses at this point. LaShawn McCoy didn't look great last week. Neither did the Bills' offense. The Denver offense looked pretty good, but I think that is going to lead the Bills' defense to plan for that. And so I think Denver's defense is going to step up and take that. Yeah. And then New Orleans and Carolina. I'm taking Carolina in a battle where it comes down to Carolina's defense. That's all it really takes here because, like you said, New Orleans' defense is just horrendous. There's gaping holes. It's in the secondary, pass rush, linebacker. There's missing pieces everywhere. I'm going to take Carolina in a 19-14 win. Pittsburgh and Chicago. I'm going to take Pittsburgh, but it's going to be 21-14. Honestly, I think we all thought the Bears were going to be bad, but Pittsburgh's defense is very lethargic.
Don't be disrespectful. These are the Bears.
I know it's the
Bears.
Bears.
These are the Bears.
Yeah, did you see the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the Browns week 1?
Okay, those were a very talented Browns roster.
Hey, it's my turn. You don't interrupt.
Okay, I'm just saying. But
I didn't interrupt yours.
I'm just saying that's disrespectful, though.
21-14, Pittsburgh takes it. Because Chicago's at home as well. Atlanta, Detroit, I'm going to have to go with Stafford. Comeback king, or comeback kid, or whatever you want to call him. I'm liking him over Atlanta's offense, who hasn't really looked like a powerhouse yet. And their defense has some growing pains. Vic Beasley, I think I saw, is having surgery. So he's out, so that takes away a big pass rush which will give Matt Stafford more time in the pocket, allowing him to move around and get the ball out to many of its great receivers. And so I'll take Detroit in that one in a fourth quarter comeback, 24-20.
Ooh.
Cleveland and Indianapolis. I gotta go Cleveland. Indianapolis is looking. It's awful. It's terrible. At this point they're trying to waste time and hope that Andrew Luck will come back next week because this is absolutely horrendous. If I'm Andrew Luck, I'm asking out because they've not built a team. I feel bad for Malik Hooker and all those people playing defense. Yes.
Okay, so after I was going to let you finish your pick about the Colts. Okay?
Yeah.
So you said Andrew Luck is going to leave.
I said he should.
He should. Where would you go if you're Andrew Luck? Hot take.
I think he's got to go somewhere. He's going to look for somewhere with an offensive line. Honestly, if Carson Palmer retires, I could see him going to Arizona.
That's immediately where my brain was going. Yeah, because Bruce Arians was the coordinator in Indianapolis for a while, so I can.
That's what I'm thinking because they're Andrew Luck's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
You give him David Johnson, you give him some form of running game. Frank Gore's good, but David Johnson's better.
He looked good in red.
He would. He really would.
Because he looked good in the Cardinal red.
Yeah, he looked good in Stanford too, with that red.
That's what I was talking about. Stanford.
Yeah, the Cardinal red. Next pick, Tampa Bay and Minnesota. I'm tired of Vikings fans saying that the Vikings are going to beat the Buccaneers. I understand the Buccaneers are a little bit of a toss-up. They either play really well or it's a really close match. I'm going to take Buccaneers in a blowout 35-7.
Wow.
Sam Bradford's not even starting and Dalvin Cook, they can't run it all game with Gerald McCoy. Houston and New England. I'm going to take Houston.
I heard what you just said, but I want to hear it again.
I'm picking Houston. I'm picking Houston in a close matchup here. I understand it's Tom Terrific, but he also got beat by the Kansas City defense.
You're talking about the greatest quarterback.
I am. But he also lost to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Hey, stop interrupting me.
I'm sorry.
I'm making my pick.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to take Houston in a very defensive-minded battle. I'm taking Houston 17-14. It's going to be a very close matchup. I don't think they win by much. Miami and New York Jets. Miami's going to take this one. Jay is just going to run the ball down their throats. Let's see, 28-6 on that one. New York Giants and Philadelphia. I'm going to take Philly. I can't. I'm not a huge fan of Philly, but the Giants have not looked like Giants. They are bad. And I don't care about this Odell Beckham crap because he's terrible. Last game he had 3 catches for 23 yards. And the drama is just all terrible. It's just, you got to take Philly in this one, especially with Philadelphia's defense. Carson Wentz can make some plays. I just want to see it more consistently. I'm going to take Philadelphia in a 24-3. Seattle and Tennessee. I'm taking Tennessee. I'm liking Marcus Mariota and DeMarco Murray, Derrick Henry behind that offensive line, young offensive line. The receiving threats aren't that bad, which will eliminate the threat of Richard Sherman and Legion of Boom to a certain extent. I'm going to take the Titans 16-9 in a defensive battle. Seattle's going to only score field goals. They just can't produce on offense. Cincinnati and Green Bay 35-7. No explanation needed. Kansas City Chiefs versus the LA Chargers. This one's a tough one because it's hard, like you said about predicting the Redskins games. I feel like it's hard to predict the LA Charger games because it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to have to go with Kansas City on this one. I like their coaching staff much better than the LA Chargers, and I got to go with the young star Kareem Hunt. I think he's going to run the ball very well. Tyreek Hill's looking good as well. I'm going to take Kansas City in a close one. We're going to go 24-20. And then we got Oakland and Washington.
Don't you dare say it.
This is a tough one, but I'm going to take Oakland.
From this one, man.
What?
I'm saying, don't you dare say Washington.
I was going to say Washington.
Good.
Even though Washington's at home, I have to go with Oakland and that powerhouse of an offense. They've just been looking too good. Marshawn Lynch is looking like Marshawn Lynch. And Jalen Richard is actually looking really good, too, coming out of the backfield for receiving targets. I'm going to take Oakland in a 35-28 battle. Battle of the offenses. Dallas and Arizona. This one's a toss-up, but I gotta go with Dallas on this one. I think the Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu, and that secondary is going to shut down Des Bryant. But Jason Witten always finds a way to be open. And Ezekiel Elliott, I think he's going to run behind that line and get vengeance. Or he might not, but I think he'll get vengeance on this one. I'm going to take Dallas in a 19-9.
That's going to be boring to watch.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's boring to watch. Okay.
So, yeah, those are our Week 3 game picks. I think we'll go over them next week.
I can't believe you took the Texans. That's just...
I got to give them...
J.J. Watt is hurt. Jadeveon Clowney has been AWOL. Has he even played this season?
Yes.
How many sacks does he have this year?
He got a fumble recovery, dude.
Okay.
He's athletic. He's looking good.
You're Stark.
Don't disrespect the pick.
Who are on the corner?
Remember, what is the name of this show?
Respectfully outrageous, not respectfully stupid. Okay?
Hey.
We have integrity of the brand to keep up here, and you're taking the Texans over the New England Patriots.
They lost to the Chiefs. I think Deshaun
Chiefs
Watson,
are a better
in his
team
second career start, is going to play well.
Yeah, okay, against a bad Patriot defense, but you also realize you're going against the greatest quarterback of all time, with the greatest tight end of all time, with the greatest coach of all time in Gillette Stadium, with Brandon Cooks, without Julian Edelman. So you know Tom Brady's going to be pissed off. And you know they got Mike Gillislee. They're going to be happy. It's going to be a frenzy in New England. They're going to go off. He's going to be like, that's a lot of people. These people are faster than they were in the national championship game, and he's going to get hit a lot. And he's going to be scary.
With what pass rush?
What pass rush? How about Chris Morris? How long... You really think he's going to go through... Oh, yeah. Who's his other receiver besides DeAndre Hopkins? He's going to the former quarterback, Braxton Miller. Going to be covered by Stephon Gilmore and Devin McCourty. He's going to be the Patriots.
I'll take that matchup.
Stephon Gilmore on a former quarterback. Please. Don't be disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful.
Hey, I'm being respectfully outrageous.
More like respectfully stupid, man. Come on.
I think you're stupid to pick the Bills over the Broncos.
Tyrod Taylor's a good quarterback with a good running game.
Have you seen his stats? What'd they play last week? What'd they get? 50 yards total offense?
Carolina's a really good defense.
Yeah. So?
So, it's a good defense.
Yeah, the Carolina offense didn't have it for long, so the Bills had a chance to make it. Anyway,
that's not the point.
Will go
They played
over...
well enough to win the game. This is Zay Jones' fault, not Tyrod's. It's a good pass.
Whatever. That's your pick. I made my pick. You made your pick.
I mean, you played the Bills and the Texans. I'd take the Bills.
Just whatever. So next week we'll probably go over this, and then we'll probably recap Week 3.
Mm-hmm.
We might have some additional topics depending on how much time we have. We're trying to keep our episodes really under 45 minutes. I think it's more of a, it's better for our viewers.
It's condensed.
Yeah. An hour gets a little long. I will say though our views have been steadily growing.
Positive.
Yeah, it's not insanely growing, but we're getting somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could subscribe, that'd be great.
Drop a like.
Drop a like.
Share.
And no more excuses for I don't have a Google account. Just create one. It's free.
It's fast.
It's super easy.
Make it a YouTube channel. Probably making a YouTube channel to subscribe takes what? A minute and a half?
Oh, for sure. It's super easy. Just come on, do it for us. We're really trying to get this off. It's really something we enjoy. Even when Ben picks the Bills over the Denver Broncos.
He says something stupid like Sean Watson and those Texans going into Gillette Stadium. I can't believe this kid.
Anyway, I want to thank you for listening and enjoy your Sunday. Hopefully this will get released before... I guess it won't be released before the London game.
Well,
but enjoy your week, and we'll hopefully see you next week. We're trying to get weekly videos.
Okay.
So we will see you later.
Thanks for watching.